After 2 burnouts in dentistry, I asked myself, what if I could turn my struggles into stepping stones for others? That's how this podcast started. We learn from each other, going from stress to success. And with more than 60% of dental professionals facing stress or burnout, this conversation has never been more important. Let's get started. Who do you recommend to speak about the money with the patient? The dentist or the receptionist or a person?
That's a good question. Well, maybe you can do that digitally, but confirm it with the team.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to send you a treatment plan quotation. Please let us know what your thoughts are. Included in there is a payment plan or a payment payment terms, which allow us to spread the payments over the treatment plan.
So you think that is an option, that totally put that part digitally? You don't even have to sit down and explain these things. You can send it.
Well, here's the thing. If you're say you're looking to invest, let's say €10,000 in a particular service. Maybe you're going to hire a hotel for a party. Maybe you're going to do, even buy a car, or you're going to invest in reconstruction of your garage or whatever it might be, right? When you get to this sort of what is quite a high investment level for the average person, how often do you not ask for a quotation? Do you ever do anything without understanding what you're going to pay first and how it's going to be done?
No.
So why is it in dentistry you don't have that thinking that says, let's get the quotation as early as possible?
Yeah.
I know it does. Not all practices, don't get me wrong, the ones that publish their prices online. But I think it's an area that the dentists could be more relaxed about.
Yeah.
Because we did some research in London. About 35% of the dentists publish their prices online today for every treatment. They do it.
Yeah.
In other countries, it's less.
Is it?
Yeah, depends on the culture.
I wonder in Scandinavia how it is. I think
we're looking at that now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the digital part helps because the more you digitize, the easier. You need to take pressure off of the team for conversations that may be difficult.
Yeah.
Get your digital avatar to do it.
Yeah. So how does that work?
Well, we are actually looking at launching. I think Dr. Alexander de Vigas, we're trying to get that part launched first, which is we have a chat dialogue right now with a chatbot. What we're looking for is for you to be able to take a photo of yourself as a dentist, or maybe one of the team in the reception or the dental assistant so
it gets personal.
Yeah. Or you use some people are uncomfortable with that. So then we can give them an avatar, a person that represents the dentist. Yeah. That's the digital thing, and they have the conversation with the patient about the pricing, and then you can avoid the personal one.
That's great. Yeah. I'm thinking back to there are so many stress factors.
So another stress factor that you mentioned yesterday was the team dynamics area. Where you may have a young dentist and an experienced dental assistant.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How did you manage that? You mentioned, how would you go about dealing with that situation?
Yeah.
How stress? Why was it stress? I mean, I can understand it's pretty obvious.
So you are interviewing me now?
No, you should interview me.
I heard it. I told you I heard it from several dentists that I'm coaching. They are in this situation. Young dentists who have a more experienced dental assistant, and they find that it's difficult to set boundaries with them, and they find themselves doing more tasks than they should be doing. And yes, it's just like we said that first, making the open questions to really hear what the other person's feelings and thoughts are about the situation. And then my message there is to have as clear communication as possible. Tell how you feel. And the important thing that we were speaking about yesterday was the having clear role descriptions. And that is something that I think that we miss in dentistry as well, to really have clear
absolutely.
role descriptions.
So, when you have in any service business, you have to look at the profitability of the business. So the business model says, okay, we can employ dental assistant, hygienist, dentist.
Yes.
This is how you think, because you want to deliver the treatment outcome.
Yeah.
Employing the next level up from that is if you become a bigger practice, you might have a practice manager, which is somebody that manages the operations. One of their duties might be human resources or relationships with the team, keeping that going. The difficulty is and that duty, you need to put effort and energy into setting up, say, a job description with the core accountabilities, which is what you're mentioning.
Yeah.
So actually, it's not that difficult to do, especially with AI these days. So what we're looking at, or we're already doing in Smylor, is offering an advanced little option where we can template all the different roles, and that those are ready to adjust.
Yeah.
So there's less work for the team, because if you don't have a practice manager or you're the lead dentist, you still need to cover that area.
Yeah. And that's what I got to think about now, that maybe when you're a bigger clinic, it's easier to have those role descriptions. But when you're a small clinic, it's not that you can just say that it's just the dental assistant that, for example, will be doing the sterilization, the cleaning. Because if the dental hygienist has nothing to do and you're a small clinic, you would like her to help, or him to help the dental assistant.
Course.
You want that teamwork to see, okay, I have time, I will help you because I see that you're stressed.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't see that in a team member, that would frustrate me.
Of course. So you want flexibility.
That's another tricky thing in dentistry, that you cannot have these strict borders, because
as a smaller practice, definitely not, and that's the same with many small businesses. It's not exclusive to dentistry.
No, it's just starting like cleaning the office. So you see that
you need the team to all muck in and have multiple roles. So like in Smylor, when we engage with people who work with Smylor, we ask them to do multiple roles. We're very upfront about that. Yeah. That says that we're a small team. We're growing. It's okay, but we're not a big. We don't have 10,000 employees. We don't have 1,000. But actually, what happens then is when you're in the recruitment process, you need to look at the different styles of the people. The personalities, because some personalities suit certain jobs and some others don't. Okay, so what we tend to do, and what I'm a bit great, whenever I recruit, I promote. I give it as an option because of data privacy and other issues, but I always say, if you really want to work with Smylor, right, what can really help us is if you take this digital test online called 16personalities.com. There are others around. It's based on Myers-Briggs.
But is that your favourite one?
My favourite one, yes.
Yeah, mine too.
Because I think for me, it gives a very good summary. I think it's about 15-20 minutes of your time to do it.
Yeah.
And I would say it's 90% accurate on analysing who you are.
Yeah.
And then it also gives you things like your career. So
Yeah.
it gives you
And
information
how to
about
communicate
what type of
with
job.
that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What you're good at, what
Yeah.
your communication style is,
Yeah.
what you're not so good at, what maybe will
What
annoy
drives you.
what drives you. And of course, if you have, let's say you have a team of 5 in the practice, say there's 5 of you, and you've got all the personality, and you sit down as a team and say, okay, you took all the tests online,
Yeah.
let's have a look,
Yeah.
let's look at these tasks that need to be done.
Yeah.
And then you as the leader can then make sure that to try and bias the tasks against the personality.
Yeah. I love that.
Investing that up front will create a better productivity, because you will have the tasks, the people that are, everybody has to do things they don't like. That's normal. It's just that if somebody gets, if their personality is one type and then they're doing all these tasks they don't like. So you want flexibility,
Yeah.
but you need, but that is for me very important, to recognise the personality.
Yeah.
And then I say, okay, I'm going to give you 60% of the tasks that you're going to enjoy, and 40% will just need to muck in. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So in the conflict that you talked about, going back to the dentist, young dentist, and the was it the dental assistant?
yeah.
If you have this task description, or more or less an understanding of what each of them are willing to do, then that creates a boundary that helps set the boundary. If you don't have that,
Yes.
then it's just fluid.
Yeah. You mentioned something that was really interesting as well, that I would like you to add a little bit about, the boredom and the creativity tasks.
Yeah. Yeah, so of course, each in any role, somebody may need more creativity in their role, and somebody may be happier with routine. We all like some creativity, most people, but it's just the degree of it.
Yeah.
So when you're, with the type of output that you get, like, let's say from 16 personalities, because it's doing it online in a way that is impersonal, it's standardized, it's, you are not trying to judge the person on who they are. There is a third party tool that's been done by thousands and thousands of people that's saying, like, I think a protagonist, right? So my output is that's who I am.
What's your strength?
Oh, I can't remember.
You have
on
so
the
many.
protagonist, I have a few. I think one of my strengths is that I'm very focused on getting things done and execution of an idea or whatever. I can be creative, but I like to see things through.
Yeah.
I need to finish things.
And in an efficient
in a structured way.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my strengths. Yeah, and efficient. I don't like inefficiency. Yeah, I like to try and look at processes with various steps. So I have this thing I created called the Business Metro, which is like a one-page visual of all the processes any business could need, and it's like going on a train journey.
Yeah.
So each stop is a certain activity, and each stop, if you don't do the activity first, the one previous, then it affects the next stop, and so on.
Yeah.
So this is the one of my strengths. So, the dental assistant thing that we talked about, this also applies for the patients. We talked about unrealistic expectations with patients. Getting to understand what is a win-win for both the practice and the patient is the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
It's like a negotiation. Like, the expectations of the patient might be, they want to have a Julia Roberts smile, they want it done within a week, and they don't want to pay more than €10, €10, okay? When you have that type of incoming requirement, the chance you're going to lose as a practice, obviously.
Yes.
Okay, so this sort of setting the boundaries just like we talked about the tasks, making sure the tasks are organised. Set the expectations. What are the expectations listed for the practice? What are the expectations listed that we know about with the patient? That's why the open questions are important. When you could have a regular team treatment plan review, maybe with one of your peers, to discuss it, like another dentist, or you need to get to the point where you ensure that the risk of not getting win-win is low. Because normally then you'll default to lose-lose.
Yeah.
The patient loses because they don't get the treatment they wanted, because you're compromised. You lose because you don't have the funding or the ability or the technical capability to deliver what they're looking for in the time they're looking for, and you so resetting expectations, it's part of the process, and that will also help generally. And if you digitally do it, standardize on treatment, standardize on the pricing, standardize on the process. And then, of course, you add in exceptions. But by having this, let's say
Why do you think that dentistry is so bad in standardizing things?
Well, I think one of the challenges for dentists are that you can, when a dentist thinks about earning money or making income, most of the dentists I've come across, they think of what do they call it? Drilling and billing, right? I'm drilling and I'm billing. So I'm happy, right? So the thing is there's this time thing. So how much hourly rate can we make? Okay. So this treatment over here, we're charging this per hour for.
Yeah.
This treatment over here, you're making this type of money. Okay. What is difficult for the practice? So what that lends itself to is that you could have, and I've seen this before, databases with 100, 200 different treatment types for 2 dentists, okay, or 3 dentists that have been typing these different treatment types, because every single patient engagement for them, to an extent, it is new. It is a custom,
unique, somehow.
But here's the thing: is instead of think of it like a completely new treatment, okay, because think, well, actually hygiene's probably accepted. The teeth cleaning, apart from maybe air, I think they've got air or deep airflow or deep scaling, but even those you could standardise. Say, well, here's level 1, the standard cleaning, and then you level 2 deep scaling, and then level 3 airflow, and you say to the patient, which one do you want? You pay more for you go, right? It's easy to standardise if the treatment has a routine or typically is the same.
Yeah.
And for quality of the health delivery, you have a certain protocol in dentistry you have to follow, right, for each treatment type.
Yes.
So therefore, if you follow that protocol, standardise on it. Think about the whole treatment as a deliverable. The treatment outcome is what you're looking for, win-win. The win on you is saying, what hourly rate can I get out of this? That's for you. But for the patient, it's how can I afford the whole treatment outcome?
Yeah.
And this is the managing expectations on both parts. If you standardise as much as you can, then your life will be less stressful. Because if you're dealing with 50, for example, treatment plan types versus 150, you've got 2/3 less to think about when you're doing something. And the worst case is that you create a new treatment plan every time that's completely customised. You're starting from scratch with no templating at all. That's tricky.
Yeah. So how much do you think that we could lower the stress if we standardize more things?
I think that,
and digitize.
Well, this is interesting.
Automatize.
If you that's another fundamental issue that dentists have and all businesses have is how many products or services are we going to run? So if we run, in terms of treatments, what range of treatments are we going to offer? the more treatments we offer, the more complexity we bring in to the delivery of the treatment outcomes, because we need to manage many more things.
That could be negative as well.
That could be negative as well.
Yeah.
So what we see is quite a few dentist clinics opening up and focusing on maybe 3 or 4 treatments.
Yeah.
That's one option.
Like a niche, yeah.
They say, okay, we're just going to do
and they can be more
aesthetic.
efficient as well.
Exactly. So they standardise it, they understand it well, and the service delivery for the patient can go up. Because what happens is, for example, in Zurich near me, there's one called, what are they called? Bleaching 24CH or something. You know? So all they do is teeth whitening. That's all they do. And their website that you look at, it has all the different options for family, all the different pricing solutions.
Teeth whitening.
They've got teeth whitening for partners. I can't remember. I don't know if that's the case. I'd have to double check. But they are comprehensive.
Yeah.
And they go into that detail.
And somehow that attracts you when you hear something like that. It's like you automatically feel that, well, they're specialized.
Here's the thing.
I want to go with that.
Exactly. So if you think about it, if you as a practice, if somebody is looking in your area and they want teeth whitening, and there's a practice that's all they do. And it's a bit like the shopping experience. Like if you go into a shoe shop, you're looking for shoes, you go to a shoe shop, or you could go to a department store that has a like maybe a clothes shop with some shoes. It's easier to go to the shoe shop because you know you're going to get more selection, and that's their world.
That's true. But one thing I felt when I had my dental clinic is dental practice, that I didn't want anyone to have to leave the clinic. So I wanted to have all the services. But at the same time, like you said, it added more stress, because suddenly you have to have everything at your clinic, more material.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you, what we're at Smylor is trying to do is help all clinics and even large groups get to grips what we call with the optimal dental treatment mix. Our treatment marketplace is a dental treatment marketplace. It's not a dentist marketplace. So what we focus on is getting to help the practices promote their treatments and understand that mix. So of course, when COVID happened, one of the practices we were working with, the local authorities said that they had to only offer emergency treatments, people in pain and stuff, which in the earliest decades ago, dentistry was built to an extent on that, right? So if you were into dentistry, it was not so much cosmetic, it was more to do with helping people with their pain, their health, We saw, when you took away the aesthetic and the other, we saw the income dropped by 85%. So and this is not funded by the government, so there's no option. He has to make it all privately. So that practice had to fund that gap, and that 85% for a number of months in COVID period is tough, right? So what that can tell you is that if you ran a practice with focusing on maybe some aesthetic and reducing some of the other treatments, it might be that, of course, holistically you want to offer the patient everything. Yeah. But it might put more stress financially on the practice.
Yes. That's the thing. Okay, so let's wrap this up by 3 final advices to dentists right now, how they can go from stress to success in their professional lives.
Well, my strong advice is, and this is our conclusion, why we're, and it's not just about Smylor, what we do. We believe we've analysed the patient journey from when they think on the sofa about how they're going to deal with maybe their uncomfortable smile in an Instagram post or a photo, through to, if they woke up in the middle of the night and they've got excruciating pain in their mouth, that booking process, that investigation, that whole trying to understand which treatment is done by which dentist. Where can I find a dentist? For example, on Smylor, we have a broadcast capability. So if they're in an emergency situation, they could broadcast to 20 different dentists instead of having to make 20 phone calls. So our digitization, just like Airbnb and Booking.com, allows that patient journey to happen fluidly. For the practices, including scheduling appointments, chatting with the practice or AI bot online, having an online reception 24/7. All of these digital relationship tools will pull the level of stress down for the practice team and the dentist. Because, like we discussed, the old ways of doing things create a lot of stress factors.
Yes.
So in summary, I don't think there's three things.
No.
I think there's one thing that you can look at. I mean, there is one other that you could reduce the number of treatments in the practice. We just discussed this.
Yes.
Because that does complicate things.
It does.
The more treatments that you try and do, with the low, it depends on how big the practice is.
Yeah.
So that's one technique you could do fairly quickly. But for that, you need to get that optimal mix of what's the most cost effective.
Yes.
And of course, that's the other part. Unlike typical sort of digital tools, we're not just, yes, we have online booking, we have online chat, but we're looking to help the practice as well market their treatments. So what's the marketing mix you want for the treatment mix? And you need support there. Because the most practices, when we've looked at their websites, their ability to communicate what that treatment represents from a patient perspective is, let's say, can do with improvement.
Yeah.
Tends to be quite technical sometimes. The patient may not understand it. So that would help a lot if the dentist could improve their digital footprint in a more patient-friendly way.
Yeah. That's a good summary. So let's say somebody's listening here and want to know more about Smylor and the services and to improve their clinics. How do they start? What do they do?
They can go to smylor.com and look at the dentist services that we offer. They can engage with us at different levels. So there's options. They could just be part of maybe the online community that we've got at Smylor dentist practices. That they can update their profile. It's a bit like a typical listing on like the old yellow pages, the yellow.com. Or they can engage with us further by saying, okay, I'd like us to have a treatment review, or I'd like an online chat for my reception with the capability of having 24/7 support.
Yeah.
I'd like online booking. I'd like to be able to have my patients schedule their booking through WhatsApp.
Yeah. Could they book a demo with Smylor?
Yes, they can, yeah. So they just need to go to our website and request a demo.
Smylor.com. So that's what we are recommending everybody who's listening to this today, to go from stress to success. That's the goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christina.
And thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay,
so... Yeah, and then I will just ask you a final 3 advices to dentists.
I wish I had a Smylor when I had my dental practice. It removes so much stress from the dental team, handling online bookings, patient questions with a chatbot, pre- and post-treatment automations, and even offering a marketplace for dental treatments. Smylor isn't just a sponsor, it's a solution. That's why I love working with them, because they take dental teams from stress to success. If this episode helped you, don't keep it to yourself. Like, comment, and subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but to help more dental professionals go from stress to success. Your support means the world. See you next time.